G'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, coming to you guys with some more World of Warships content. So today guys, I figured we would have a chat about the importance of teamwork in World of Warships, which, yes, I know sounds like a painfully obvious topic, something that we really shouldn't even have to make a video about in the first place. But, well, here we are, because at the end of the day, teamwork in World of Warships is something that will be the make or break for matches, and it's sadly something that I have, at times, struggled to find at all in the games that I play. Sure, you might get the odd match where it's just two teams, quote unquote, slugging it out with no element of teamwork being present in the entire game, but most of the time, the teams that work together are the teams that come out on top. Hell, the ship classes, their strengths, weaknesses, and abilities are all built to work together, and when that isn't done, that just defeats the purpose of it. Sure, this might be at its core a historical shooter game, where killing things is all the fun, but filling the role of your ship should be the key focus whenever you're playing in a game. So, on that note, let's go over some of the talking points for being a better team player in World of Warships. And first and foremost for me personally is that as a DD player, don't be a chicken shit. You are the scout of the fleet. You have the concealment and smoke to remain hidden against most threats, and you have the maneuverability and speed boost to get clear fast. You are the eyes of the fleet, and without your scouting, your fleet are going to be quickly in the hurt locker as the enemy DDs do their job of scouting. And come on, let's be real here, you're also going to have a much higher success rate with your torpedoes the closer you get to enemy ship, simply because you're going to leave a lot less up to chance of them simply turning away before you get your torpedoes off and they actually make it to your target. So the closer you get, the better for both you, your damage count, and your team. Now, on the flip side, that isn't a get out of jail free card for cruisers and battleships. They should be trying to support their DDs when possible or necessary. If you have a DD scouting or capturing a point, for example, having a couple of ships within the team getting ready to cover their escape if necessary or assist in any knife fights that they get into is absolutely key. To the aircraft carrier players out there, I would also recommend providing early reconnaissance for DDs while they are capping a point when possible as well, but only in such a way that isn't going to lead enemy CV planes to your ally DD. If you as an aircraft carrier player could give a DD an idea as to where opposing DDs are, it's going to allow for them to prepare more effectively to contest the point or get the hell out of dodge before it's too late if they are going to be horribly outgunned. Now, to battleship players out there, as someone who mains battleships myself, I know it may seem infuriating to be the one that's taking so much fire from so many different ships at once, but something that we've got to remember here is that battleships are the juggernaut powerhouses of the fleet. They are designed to take damage for the fleet and draw fire away from cruisers and DDs, which sometimes means sacrificing some firepower in an attempt to tank more damage and support the team for the final push. Don't worry guys, the opportunity to get some really heavy hits on targets will present itself in the long run, but sometimes you just need to take those hits and act as the juggernaut for your fleet. But once again, on the other side of the coin, if you see a battleship taking excessive fire, turning tail and leaving them for dead is, well, a sure way to make enemies out of your friends. As I said before, battleships are the juggernaut powerhouses of the fleet. A battleship can soak a lot of damage, but that damage soaking is only going to matter if you take the opportunity to land some hits on the ships shooting the battleship while they are taking that said damage. A battleship, more often than not, can be the ticket you need to push the enemy off a capture point. But that battleship will only last so long with no support whatsoever from the fleet. If you see a battleship pushing for a point or just trying to gain some ground on the enemy, do your best to assist them. Taking that opportunity to land hits on the enemy will mean that the battleship can keep pushing the agenda, all the while not being stuck in a really brutal 1v5 situation. The firepower and the health pool provided by a battleship will be what's required to push enemies off of capture points, so support your battleships when required. Now, just to build on that a little bit more, when a battleship player is taking excessive fire, listen out for priority target callouts that are coming from them. They will be identifying targets that are being a particular nuisance to them, or targets that are outside their current gun angle that they need the remainder of the fleet to engage on their behalf. Once again, this will help to keep the battleships in action for longer. And battleship players, make use of those callouts for God's sakes. Let your team know what needs to die. Communication is key, and if you're not going to communicate with your team, then at the end of the day, you probably deserve to burn out regardless. Now, cruiser players, my good old friends. For the love of God, if there is an aircraft carrier in the game and you have some battleships that are really lacking AA weaponry, stick your ass right next to them and don't move. They need that added AA, and ensuring that the battleship makes it to the end of the game can be what nets a win. Sometimes all it takes for a battleship to be wiped clean off the map is for an aircraft carrier to notice that it's undefended and set up the perfect strafing run with 2 sets of torpedo bombers. And as I'm sure we're all aware, battleships don't exactly have the tightest turning circles, which means that dodging well-placed aircraft strikes is nigh impossible. Yes, some battleships already feature really decent AA weaponry, but the more time that battleships spend soaking direct fire from enemy ships and not from planes, the better. So support them regardless of ship type and model and AA armament, because at the end of the day, they're going to need all the support they can get in some cases. Now, this next one here goes out to destroyer players and some cruiser players, depending on the line of cruisers that you go down, and we're going to be referring to smoke here. Guys, I understand that it is very, very tempting to simply sit in your smoke and use your smoke entirely on yourself, so you can, again, sit in your smoke and pummel enemy ships with constant artillery rain and torpedo strikes, all the while remaining completely invisible. I get that, it's tempting, and it soaks you up a lot of damage, which is nice. But, a smoke can be the defining factor that saves an ally. There's no secret about it, guys. The more ships you can keep alive for longer gives you a higher chance at winning a match in World of Warships, and a smoke can be what allows for a team to win the game. I know it's very, very tempting to just simply use your smokes for your own personal use, but hey, you can still do that and provide support for allies that are in desperate need of doing it. If you see a battleship with 3 fires on board desperately trying to make a run for it, if you see a cruiser caught knee deep in the middle of bumfuck nowhere with no cover whatsoever, rush out, give them smoke, ensure that they can survive a little bit longer so they can take the necessary actions to try and increase the survival chance. Sure, they may make a really stupid decision and move out of the smoke preemptively, but at the end of the day, you did your part to try and save that vessel, which is what counts. And for the love of God, guys, considering that last point there really did relate to situational awareness, use your maps. Destroyers and torpedo-wielding cruisers in particular, use your maps and know when not to launch torpedoes. The amount of times that I've been torpedoed by an ally that could have been avoided by a slight map check is beyond count. That goes both ways, however. Check your surroundings to ensure that you aren't sailing into torpedoes that were launched way before your course was decided. Making use of your map to simply identify what your team is doing as well will help you decide what you need to do to best support them and do your part to essentially win the game. And this final point that I'm about to talk about here might sound a bit contradictory to all of the points that I've been bringing up here in this entire video, but all in all, it's actually something worth considering, because while yes, it is important to stick with your team and support them where you can, sometimes, and only sometimes, the best thing you can do is split off from your team and score a stellar flank. Even as a battleship, if you can sneak your way up behind the enemy fleet, get into close range and score some sneaky citadels and scatter the enemy fleet from behind, it might be the move needed to really get your team's assault through the door. But this tip once again should be really taken with a grain of salt, guys. There's no point in scoring that stellar flank if there's no team pushing from the side. So if your entire team is dead on the main front and you just show up, you're going to die anyway and it's going to be all for nothing. So only do it if you can do it in a timely manner and if it's convenient and if there's not another ship already doing it. Once again, use your common wits about you there and only ever do it sometimes when required. And folks, with that said, I think that kind of wraps up everything that I wanted to talk about in this video in regards to teamwork in World of Warships. If you have any pointers on your end as to what, teamwork elements you'd like to see more of in World of Warships or what you think players should be doing, leave it in the comment section down below. Let's have a chat about it. Any comments that I find extremely helpful, I'll be sure to try and pin to the top and all that jazz. So guys, once again, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, a backhanding of that like button would be greatly appreciated. If you find yourself backhanding that like button and you're new to the channel, then why don't you go around and backhand the subscribe button whilst you're at it to keep up to date with the content in which I'm releasing here on my channel. Once again guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, peace out, and I'll be seeing you all next time. Have a good one.